Big exciting news as we start a Friday afternoon is that you've almost made it to the weekend. Which, if you were going to interview Nancy Pelosi about that and ask Nancy, what's going to happen with Steve and you over the weekend? Well, this is how she would probably answer. Well, Saturday, this is Friday, Saturday's imminent, because it's tomorrow. Sunday is just around the corner. It's really close. Monday is 48 hours from now, so it's sort of a deadline for Monday. And we're turning the corner. We're almost to Tuesday. We're almost to a new week. I sense it's really imminent that we're going to get to Saturday afternoons really close. And if you stay with me, you might want to pull out your hair. To which most of us will say, sorry, I don't want to have a Nancy Pelosi hairstyle. Good afternoon, everybody. This is Afternoons LALATE, and I'm so glad you're so close and so imminent and so really near to me. As the Purple Power family would say, cut it out and back it up. Go to the front of the channel, subscribe. Subscribe because we're really sick of being told how close we are, and we really feel like we're in Antarctica at this point. And also like this video. In this video, I will be doing something I've never done before. Yeah, I'll be doing something totally different. I will be covering in this video where these people have brought us on their Carmen Sandiego, where in the world is your stimulus check endeavor this week, and where we are today. Rather than sit back and run press clippings of Nancy and Donald and Steve, who have all talked in the last hour and are saying much of the same imminent close stuff, I'm going to go over where they have brought you and where they really are as a service to you. I don't think it really makes a purpose anymore to keep on running bullcrap from people who just can't get their story straight. So I'm going to make it clear, I'm going to make it concise, and I'm going to make it very truthful and very focused for you to get your stimulus check. And I really appreciate you for making a part of this community. All right, let's get to the breaking news. The breaking news is that they have nothing. The breaking news is they literally have nothing and have strung you along like like the little kid with the go-kart at the amusement park for upwards of 7 days. As we sit here today, there's no deal, there's no law, there's no bill. Let's repeat that again. There's no deal between Steve and Nancy. There's no bill. They haven't written a bill. And there's also no law because no one has actually even put anything for a vote. Second, what is Pelosi doing? Third, what is Mnuchin doing? What is the fourth? What is the White House doing? And finally, what is Mitch doing? Let me go over the next 4 items. First, what is Pelosi doing? Pelosi has no deal. She has not worked on a deal. She has not moved on a number. And she is not working to a vote. In the last half hour, she gave a news conference. It sounds much of all the other crap that she said all week long. Bottom line is I'm not going to continue to run her crap because it's all untrue. The bottom line is she has proposed a solution for stimulus since July. As we sit here now in October, she has not moved. She has not written a word of formulating a new bill that we have sat here presuming that a 3,000-page bill, once written in July and then revised in September to 2,500 pages, was sufficiently close enough to be formulated into a third version of a bill. But as we sit here today, there is no written bill. So there's nothing to vote upon, let alone there's no agreement. And now we realize that there's actually very few items that are agreed upon in the second stimulus package. Let's recap. No agreement on numbers, no agreement on provisions, no agreement on language, no one's writing the language, no one's working, and they're all collecting a salary. Next, Steve Mnuchin. He's another new surprise. Let me go over his big surprise in a day, what's behind curtain number 1? I just have a lot of surprises because it's all now hitting the fan. Steve Mnuchin reportedly has not told anyone in the Republican leadership what he's been saying, doing, writing, drafting, commiserating over in the last week. So literally, the Republican leadership is irate with Steve Mnuchin, and the Republican leadership literally wants his neck. Apparently, at this point, their sense of him being an outsider is that he's really now an outsider because he's essentially just doing stuff, going back to the president, doing stuff, going back to the president, and they're like, how do we find out what's going on? Tune into LALATE every day at 3:30, starting with afternoons LALATE, and then Hazard Pay 3:30, 30 minutes after that, followed by McConnell versus Trump, and then finally Pelosi versus Mnuchin. That's literally what the news reports are saying this afternoon. The Republicans are all right. They have absolutely know what's going on. So that whole narrative that Mitch's subcommittees are working on the bill and drafting it, and Mitch's group is working on the language into the middle of the night and drafting the words and changing the words, and that Nancy's subcommittees are working and talking on the phone is categorically untrue, says a series of new reports today. Okay. So what have they been doing? They literally have involved two people and no one else knows what's going on. And the reason why I don't know the numbers and the reason why you don't know the numbers is that literally they're keeping the numbers to their chest or wherever it is, and they're not telling anyone where they are on their deal items. Next, the White House. Does the White House have anything? Well, the White House is literally categorically unclear what they want to have. That's even additional a problem. The White House has simply said these emphatical words like go bigger, go bolder, go larger, go smaller, go more beautiful, go bold and beautiful every day on ABC, you know? Bold and beautiful is now your stimulus check, and next week it'll be all the world turns. It's just, I love Santa Barbara. That was a great soap opera. The president has given Mnuchin very little direction where he wants to go on this, and that ultimately these narratives of going bigger and bolder are actually untrue. The president has not gone bigger and bolder. The president started with the Problem Solvers bill, which was 1.5 trillion, and went to 1.6, then went to 1.8, and in upwards of 2 weeks has gone to 1.85. But when you look at the deal provisions, reportedly the president has not come up on the deal provisions for the purposes of settling. He's actually come up on the stimulus check, which is really good, but it appears that's been on his own accord, not because of Pelosi's requests. He's not come up on FPUC. He's not come up on there is no hazard pay to come up. He's not come up on EIDL grants or EIDL loans. He's not come up on really much of anything, and that the things that he's coming up on have really basically stopped for over a week. Finally, as if I can't, you want the shovel? Because it's just, the grave is over there. It's just, next, Mitch. You know, there's a reason why Mitch McConnell's video is so popular on this channel, because he literally is like the Grinch. It's just, and we thought that he was sort of the evil villain. We thought that he was sort of the Daniel Staub of this channel, the Daniel Staub of New Jersey Housewives. You just sense it's like, oh, yes, I'm just gonna ruin your night, and then I will just play some dark dungeon music as I just destroy your stimulus. No, it apparently that Mitch has nothing much to ruin because there's nothing given to him to ruin at this point. Mitch, ironically, is not involved with these stimulus negotiations, and that lack of involvement, which was Pelosi's idea, apparently has backfired on her. If you don't know what's going on, earlier in the negotiations, earlier in the year, in May, when Pelosi introduced the Heroes Act, and it got passed by the House and was sent to the Senate, and it died in the Senate because Mitch said, you know, we're not doing this horrible bill. Well, Chuck Schumer requested that Mitch McConnell not be part of the negotiations in the second stimulus package between Mnuchin and Pelosi and Schumer and Meadows. That apparently backfired on Pelosi, as much as everything always does, because apparently his lack of knowledge of what's going on in the stimulus is that he's basically finding out about all this by news reports. He's not getting debriefings from Mnuchin. His team is not getting debriefings. His Republican leadership is not getting debriefings. So he's like, excuse me, it's my House. I'm the head of, it's my Senate. I'm the head of the Senate. I'm the second leading Republican in this nation. No one's telling me what's going on in a negotiation for half the country that I'm the second most important person for. And you just want me to sort of co-sign what you're doing and never tell me what's going on? Yes. if you don't see the dynamic of this, this dates back to May, in which tensions between the president and McConnell were very abrupt, and Mnuchin and McConnell were very abrupt, as Mnuchin could not get in agreement with McConnell as to what the stimulus package will be. And so as you sit here now, is with Mitch not involved, he's not going to. The tensions are very high. But as I said before, there's nothing for him to kill because there is no bill. Nothing to kill. There is no bill. It just sounds like a nice, nursery rhyme about senators who don't give you stimulus. So as we sit here today, at the 9-minute mark, I have a lot coming up for you. The real big focus is executive orders. There is no other path for these people before the election, executive orders, because what they've set up is a house of cards, and the cards have fallen, and there's no way to put these cards up together. So let's refocus. Let's bring it back. Let's focus on us. Let's keep it positive. Let's refocus on where the money is, how much money, where it would land, and how it would land. Because ultimately, if you've been with me for more than a minute, I have told you several times before, the legislative path looks like a dead end. I've said that many times, and sometimes it's come back from the grave, like this time, but then it goes right back in the grave, and it's heading right back in the grave right now. But executive orders is not. Let's focus on executive orders. $800 billion. This is incredible, great news. $800 billion that is sitting around that can be repurposed for executive orders. Also incredible, great news. Next, has the president done this before? Yes, incredible, great news. The president has done executive orders for stimulus. When was the most recent time he did it? Just a few weeks ago. What did he do it for? He did it for FEMA. He took FEMA money that was supposed to be for fire and natural disasters and earthquakes and repurposed it for something other than what FEMA does on a daily basis for unemployment. FEMA did not pay the unemployment directly to the unemployed person. FEMA did not determine how much unemployment you need. FEMA just simply sent the money out. And who did it send the money to? It sent the money to states. It was a brilliant design in which the president said, you know what, I'm going to write the executive order. The executive order didn't mention FEMA. The executive order says the federal government will do a round of LWA, which was basically FPUC, and that this will be the calculation. Okay. As soon as the executive order debuted, we're all like, where is this money coming from? And then came the naysayers. Chuck Schumer, you can't do this. It's against the law. You can't do this. You can't do this. You can't do this. Well, you can't do it if the money's in Treasury. If the money's not in Treasury, you don't need Chuck Schumer's authorization. Let's recap. If the money is inside the Department of Treasury, you need an act of Congress to take the money out. Well, this money's not in Treasury. It's outside of Treasury. It's down the street. It's not close. It's not imminent. It's not around the corner. It's not coming up soon. It's just in a different time zone or a different zip code. It's just not close. It's in FEMA's office. And so he said, okay, I'm going to write the executive order. Okay, so we saw the executive order. Then we wonder, where's the money coming from? It's at FEMA, and hence it went out. This time around, it's a little bit different. This time we actually know where the money is. And so when you would see the executive order, you're like, yeah, I got it. I know where the money is. I watch those crime stories at night, so I follow the trace of the money. The money is hiding under a bunch of TJ Maxx scars at SBA's offices of Jovita Carranza. That's where it is. The president has confirmed, I've reported, everyone else in the White House confirmed much the same, that the money is leftover PPP loan money from the first and third rounds of PPP. It was not a successful program, as that kid in the purple shirt on a beach front on April 24th said, I hate this program. Don't do PPP. Well, I guess a few people tuned in to watch me because people didn't like PPP, and the money sat there and was not used. The program is now over. And the money's unused, so there's a lot of it. $800+ billion. So what does the president do? He writes an executive order, pulls out a pen, pulls out a piece of paper, writes it, puts it on his website, and he's done. He's done. He just has to pick up the phone and call Jovita Carranza and say, I have an executive order. You're the one that's going to send out the money. Get ready. How much money and when would you receive it and how would it work? He would do it by simply informing that agency that's how they're doing. There's no written document for him. For LWA, for FEMA, he didn't have to write an order for FEMA to send out the money. He just called them up. For the executive order for rent eviction moratorium, remember that one? He initially wrote an eviction moratorium executive order, and I was the one who for 4 weeks said this is the worst junk piece of paper. I mean, it doesn't do anything. It's not an eviction moratorium. It just says call up Ben Carson and call up Steve Mnuchin if you have problems with your rent. It's like, hi, Ben. Remember me? We took naps together. You're always closing your eyes. It's just, that's all it said. I said, you have to revise it. So the president revised the executive order, but that it didn't say who's doing the eviction moratorium or who enforces the eviction moratorium. Out of nowhere, CDC raised their hands and hi, we're in charge of diseases, and we're not crushing the virus, but we're in charge of diseases, and we're going to do eviction moratoriums. We're like, you're a disease department. Why are you doing rent? Well, someone made a call, picked up the phone call and said, oh, yeah, we'll do rent. We're a disease department, but we'll do rent. So if it sounds a little weird that an SBA loan office would be sending out stimulus checks, well, it's not as weird as a hazard and fire department and earthquake department would be sent out unemployment, or that an eviction relief would be done by a disease department. That's how it's done. So do it. Do it. If you did not see last night's debate, if you did not see today's polls, if you did not see yesterday's polls, the president needs this. He's behind, but he has momentum. He's adding about 1 percentage point a week, but the problem is we're about 2 weeks away, and he's more than 2 points behind. So he needs a push, and ultimately that push is stimulus relief. Coming up after this video, I'll have big details about why the push is needed right now, because the COVID-19 cases overnight are absolutely going through the roof. Moreover, I'll be going over why Biden is trying to get movement on other programs that might attract people economically in the polls and in the vote. Then I'll go over McConnell versus Trump, which is big developments on whether McConnell may ultimately cause problems even after the election for your stimulus. And finally, Pelosi versus Mnuchin. Is there any more Pelosi versus Mnuchin? Or was there ever a Pelosi versus Mnuchin? Were they even actually doing anything over the last week? All right, let me get to some incredible questions on this video. Mika Holland. Nancy's been playing around for everyone for months, and Mitch is playing both sides. Tim Latham, President Trump, you need to do executive orders for the American citizens now. Charles Blackford, I feel like Nancy Pelosi is just stalling. Lucy Delgado, nope, we can't care anything about Pelosi. Belinda, go vote American. Pray to God he'll go through all this larceny. Adam Clark, Trump needs to open his eyes and get things done. Lisa Steffens, so tired of her. She needs to leave. She's evil. Donna, doesn't matter how close they are. Mitch calls the shots. True Patriot, she's stalling. Don't believe what she says. Say Sean's, close and almost there equals seats for stimulus. Just way too late for them. Understand that these comments are 21 hours ago. So 21 hours ago, people were having problems with the veracity of Nancy Pelosi's remarks. Kamala, just get the checks out. It's really quite shocking. What you need to understand as we sit here today is that the president could send out the stimulus right now. You'd have it by the time of the election, or have it a day or two after the election. You'd have that stimulus check in your hand. How much stimulus check could you get? $4,000. There's enough money for $4,000 and some more FPUC. I'll be covering that in the next video. But what's important to understand is that these people have literally not been forthcoming to you. And it's not my service to you to continue to report someone that is not being honest. And if Nancy Pelosi cannot give an honest rendition of where she is, and Steve Mnuchin cannot give an honest rendition of where the numbers are, then why repeat their exact statements verbatim? Rather, I tell you where they actually are not, so that ultimately you're up to date on the situation and you're informed, rather than based upon close, here, near, and by the fence. So with that, go to the front of the channel and subscribe. And the front of the channel is sort of close, also really close. Subscribe, because no one else is really doing what level I'm doing for you, which is really cutting through all the crap and giving you really the truth of where the situation is. And truth is what's part of the prongs of Purple Power. We don't deal with crap. We deal with truth, and we deal with real numbers. Also, like this video. Coming up next is big developments on where your grant money is, how you can get grant, where the grant is now, what Joe Biden may be doing for students and their grants, and what's happening with those COVID-19 cases. Really a big trouble. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, stay at LA for more.